Test, test, test.
Yeah, no, I.
Hey guys, we'll get started real quick. I think probably everybody's here that's gonna be here tonight. We've got a few different things we're gonna do. My announcements for you are gonna be pretty quick. When we're done, if you would, guys, come grab a seat. When you're done, you can grab your shirt. They will not go anywhere. So let's grab those shirts after the meeting's over. It's like working with my youth group. Kind of the same thing.
Probably mine's better.
They're pretty good tonight. Couple quick announcements from me. Thank you for working scrimmages. Those of you that have gone out and worked, I know some of you have worked multiple ones, and some of you have had umpires like not show up, and Wes will talk about that in a minute. But thank you for all your hard work. I know a lot of you are new to baseball this year, and you've gotten a lot of innings, so I really appreciate it. The scrimmages that are assigned for Friday or Thursday, there's one tomorrow night. There's several Friday. There's a couple Saturday. Those have been assigned. I'm thinking pretty much they may cancel. So as soon as they cancel, I will let you know. Just keep checking your arbiter, and if the game goes away, it should send you an email when it cancels, but if it doesn't, just check your arbiter. If the game disappears, that means it canceled. There's also some scrimmages there's scrimmages next week as well. I have not assigned those yet because Monday and Tuesday, they're all probably going to cancel because the high is like 23 degrees. And not only do you not want to go umpire a scrimmage when it's 23 degrees, the coaches don't want to have scrimmages when it's 23 degrees. So those will not, I would think, would not take place. But look for assignments to come probably tomorrow for the second half of next week. There are some scrimmages Thursday. There's going to be a whole lot on Friday and a few on Saturday. The coaches are trying to move their canceled scrimmages from Monday and Tuesday to later in the week. So there's probably going to be quite a bit Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So if you're available those days, it would be super helpful. And then after that, the real games start. You'll see an email from me probably coming in the next 2 or 3 days that'll have a link to a Google Doc in it, and it will have it'll be a thing I sent out last year if you were in the chapter in regards to tournaments. The tournaments start the last weekend in February, and then there'll be that weekend, the first weekend in March, and the first weekend and the second weekend in March. What I'll ask you on that Google Doc is what days that you're like available all day to work tournaments, because we'll have schools that'll have tournaments. The games will start at like 8 or 9 in the morning, and they'll go all day, and we'll have multiple sites each week. And some years guys are retired and don't work and are available all day, which is awesome. I love those guys. But there's also guys that may take a day off of work on a Thursday or a Friday, and if I know you've taken a day off of work, I'll make sure to give you multiple games that day to make it worth your while. So just that helps me as I'm scheduling the tournaments. But those 3 weekends, the tournaments are Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, typically, the way that works. So you can see all those games in Arbiter. If you click the Schedule tab in Arbiter, if you notice there's a thing called Master Schedule right there, you can click that, and you can actually see every game for the whole season. And if you hit View Slots, you can even see who's assigned. There's nobody assigned to anything past Friday right now, so don't waste your time looking at that part. But you'll be able to see that. Does anybody have any questions for me in Arbiter? Anybody having any issues with Arbiter or anything it's doing weird? Having a hard time logging in? Yes, sir.
Where would we find the forms for invoicing schools and all that stuff?
Great question. He asked where the pay sheets are going to be. I actually uploaded the pay sheet for 2021 in the forms section of Arbiter yesterday. So if you go to Arbiter and you click lists, and then you click forms, you'll see there's a bunch of stuff there, but one of them is the 2021 pay sheet. You might look at it. It looks a little bit different than the pay sheets in the past. I'm not sure why they tweaked it, because it looked the same for years, but it's just a little bit different on how it works. Remember, when we do get to those real games on the mileage, it's not the mileage from your house. It's the mileage from our chapter center point, which is the courthouse in Tyler. And I'll share a link through email where you can go and you can actually go to this UIL website and you can figure the distance that you should claim for each of those games. So it's a little bit tricky, but once you get it figured out, it's not too difficult. Anybody else have anything for me? Somebody's calling me. All right, that's all I got for now. I may come back up at the end if I think of something else, but here is your royal president, Wes Hall.
You might want to go back there and get the bleeping system set up. All right, I'm not going to go on the tirade that I want to go on because I'm in a church and I've already got enough explaining to do one day when I get there, so I'm not going to do that tonight. I'm going to say something, and it really doesn't portray to any of the young guys in this room or rookies, but if you're scheduled for a scrimmage, go to the damn scrimmage. Stop no-showing people. It's not right, and we're fixing to just start sending people to the house. Because, and it's not anybody in this room, I'm hoping they're watching, they know exactly who they are, Jim Nolan. I'm going to call you out in front of the entire chapter. Do not no-show a scrimmage because you worked a scrimmage the night before. That's not an excuse anymore. And I'm tired of it. I'm tired of people not caring about anyone else. We're in this together. We're all screwed. We're shorthanded. I wish to God that we could send 6 of y'all to a scrimmage. It would make, when I came in, that's what we were able to do. And it made life so much easier, but we're not in that situation, nor will we ever be again. But guys, if you're scheduled a scrimmage, go to the scrimmage. Don't 2 hours beforehand text your partners and tell them you cannot be there. Go to the scrimmage, period, or we're done with you. It's that simple. There's got to be a line that we have to draw on this chapter. And I mean it. We'll send you home. You can go to East Texas chapter for all I care. I'll send games back. I don't care. Help everybody out. And everybody in this room, thank you, because you've all done your job. Most everyone in the chapter has done their job. Stop bailing on scrimmages. It's something crappy we all have to do. And if I'm getting 3 emails a day from Stephen, and every time I'm just like, stop doing it. Stop pulling out on them. Stop. I don't know any other way to say it, but stop. All right. Other than that, everything's going fine. But I'm frustrated because it's not fair to the rookies that are in this room, that are coming to the meetings every week, that are working their butts off, the second year and the third year guys, and everybody here right now. Everybody, even the veterans that are in this room right now. There's a lot of veterans that are using COVID as an excuse not to come to these meetings. I understand it. Wear a mask. If you don't want to be here, wear a mask. There's plenty of open space over here where nobody's sitting. Come sit by yourself and wave from a distance. I'm pretty sure there's some color-coded bands back there that Stephen and them use for church. If you don't want to talk to people, put the band on. That's all I got to say. Put the band on and say, I don't want to talk to y'all, and go sit in that corner. Because probably the problem here is you're using COVID as an excuse not to come to a meeting, but yet you want to call baseball. So you're going to be around other people. You're officiating other sports. You're doing other things. Stop using COVID as a crutch. Come to the meetings. Come here. Work with us, guys. It's not that hard. It's not that hard. I saw it in football, and I'm seeing it in baseball now, and it's sad. All right, to everyone here, thank y'all. Y'all come every week and work hard. You come to even third and fourth year guys. Heck, Ricky Mosley been calling since Jesus was in T-ball, and he was in there with the rookies tonight, listening. And that ain't a knock on Ricky for being old, but he was still up here putting in the time. Now, he might not have known what was being talked about, but that's a whole nother story for a whole nother day. All right, that's super umpire right there. He can make your playoff cards for you, by the way. He taught me that when I was a rookie. He pulled out a card and said, man, I'm Ricky Mosley, super umpire. So anyway, Ron, are you up or is Cody coming? Guys, please, please just do your scrimmages. That's all I ask. Please do your scrimmages, Jim Nolan.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Where do I get one of those red bands? I'm with the band. Hey guys, just a couple things. Everybody should have got an email from Tasso. Want to touch again on the baseballs. They've got to be, the NFHS and NOC mark has to be on them. The notice actually says they're supposed to be in compliance for the scrimmages. I called one the other night, last night, that was not in compliance, but he was just trying to get rid of all those and saving the good ones for the game. So anyway, Make sure you're looking for that. That's something that we need to do when they hand you baseballs. Take a second to look at them, okay? Of course, the catchers, the chest and body protector, they're talking about the cloth facial coverings. Cannot be white or gray. If the teams wear them, they cannot be white or gray. And they cannot be multicolored. So they can wear a team color blue, they can wear a team color red, they can wear black. They cannot have multicolored, okay? They're recommending if you would like to wear one, you're welcome to wear one. Again, solid color, no logos, no writing, not multicolored, okay? Don't go out there with a white one if the players can't do it, okay? Any questions about that? All right, I've asked, yes? Okay, the question is, if one person on the crew wants to wear a mask, do both the officials have to wear a mask? The answer is no. If you are comfortable not wearing a mask, then you're welcome to not wear a mask. Okay? Now, we do like to have matching shirts, okay, but the mask is not something that's required to match. Okay? I've asked Cody Whitehead to come in tonight and talk about some game management, some situation management, talking about how to communicate with the coach, how to communicate with the players, when to get together with your crewmates, and that kind of thing. Wes has got one thing before Cody comes.
Cody, you can go ahead and come up. One more thing I forgot. It's cold. Guys, stay warm. If you got to wear a hoodie, wear a hoodie. It's okay. Just try to make it black, okay? Try to make it a dark color. If your head gets cold, I'm bald. My head gets cold. So if you need to wear a toboggan, wear one. Stay warm on the field. Don't freeze, okay? That's one thing that Jim taught me when I came in. Sometimes just try to look as professional as you can, okay? But stay warm, especially next week. And if these people have scrimmages Thursday and Friday, stay warm. If anybody is crazy enough to have one Monday and Tuesday, man, just wear overalls for all I care. I don't know what to tell y'all, all right? Stay warm, though.
All right, guys, I'll be the nice one since Wes has obviously been the mean one tonight. So thank you guys for having me. Thank you guys for being here. Again, thank you guys for coming to the rookie, if that's what they call it. But again, Ricky, thanks for stepping up and being one of those guys that's there as a veteran to be a mentor to some of these young guys. So, and when I say young, I mean young in the game, not necessarily young at heart. So we've been asked, or I've been asked to talk about some situation management, some how we conversate with crews and when we get together and why we get together and the mindset behind that. So first off, at the next level that some of the guys in this room work or have worked over the years, and even now, I feel like it's kind of become this situation where for whatever reason, the game has evolved to where now we're the whipping post of the coaches, okay? And that can't happen, okay? We have to have a level of uniformity that and continuity in this chapter that if this guy here goes and works and he's treated a certain way, that he handles the game in such a way that when you go and work, you're not the jackwagon or I don't even know what you would call it that I could say in the church, but you understand what I'm saying, where now you're just the pain in the rear and you're the guy that's arrogant and pompous and you're not going to take no for an answer and you're going to be that guy. Well, if we all treat the coaches the exact same way and handle our business and know the rules and know when to get together and know when to talk about things and know when to be diplomatic and know when to be objective, then things will fall in line. Okay, and so I'll explain to what I'm talking about. So in the high school world, I understand, and you guys can kind of help me through this, but when we have conversations with coaches or we give warnings, how does that go? This is going to be a Q&A, so we can go through this. Okay, so if a coach is messing with us about balls and strikes, what's our initial reaction and how do we handle that initially? Anybody? Nod my head like, okay, got you, coach. All right. So we're going to acknowledge the fact that he has some displeasure about what's going on in the game. Fair enough? Okay, what's the next one, Jim?
Put my hand up and say, I hear you, that's enough.
Okay, so are we calling that a verbal warning?
No.
So we're not there yet. Okay, so I've heard you. Now we're in the third. Listen, I hear you over there, okay? You got to get better. I understand. We all do. Brian, what's next? Do we now go to verbal warning? Is that fair? Okay, so let me ask you guys this. Let's say we go 2 innings and it's crickets. There's absolutely nothing going on. And then he's like, hey, Cody, you got to get that pitch. You got that pitch earlier. We can't miss that. I need that pitch there. What's wrong with going and saying, hey, look, I hear you. I hear you. All right, I got you. We can go back to that. No problem, right? We have to know the temperature of the room. Okay? If this guy is badgering us and he's just nonstop, where's that pitch? No, it's not. That's terrible. You got to get better. And it's constant. Well, then we can go to the next step if we so choose to. Okay? Which is the verbal warning, correct, Jim?
Yes.
Hey, this is your official warning.
In high school, when you give him that, this is your verbal warning, you have now restricted him to the dugout. Am I wrong or right? You're correct.
Well, remember we added the red belt a couple years ago.
Okay, so I'm under the understanding, and again, guys, let me preface before we go any further. If there is anything that I may say, I was asked to come here, I'm telling you how I would do it. All right, fair enough? There are certain ways that we do it at the collegiate level that is not like high school. So, if I happen to say something that is corrected in one of those very brief emails that Stephen sends out, then just, I apologize.
It's the same warning, it's just warning restricted.
So we verbal, then we warn by written, and restrict them to the dugout, and that's the end of it. If they go further, hook them. Yes, sir.
On the verbal warning, do you do that from the, let's say you're the home plate umpire. You do it from the plate, or do you go over and say, Coach, this is your verbal warning? In other words, in management, people generally, if you correct them in private, then yeah, they appreciate that more. But if I'm gonna make a public spectacle of it, then I might be standing where you go, Coach, that's it, verbal warning. And it's like that.
Well, I'll say this. One thing that you guys need to remember, okay, is if we are now at the acknowledgement, and now we're going to warn them, it needs to be a spectacle of it, okay? We need to make sure that they know exactly what I'm warning them for. Hey, this is your warning for balls and strikes, okay? Another piece. Again, if you guys don't like the philosophy that I may have, I totally respect it. Okay, it's not going to change my feelings, and it's not going to change the games that I get or the games that you get. Okay, but just trying to help. So, if you don't like it, just throw it away out the door with the red band. But what I would do is I would stay right here. I would not leave the plate area. I'd take my mask off. Hey, that's your official warning for balls and strikes, or that's your verbal warning, or whatever it is, the terminology that you guys use. Okay, same thing. When it comes to the written warning. Take my mask off, I'm going to step to the side. Hey, that's your official written warning for balls and strikes. You're now restricted to the dugout. I'm going to write it up, and then I'm going to go back to work. Okay? Because everybody is now very clear as to what's going on over here. If there was any confusion, because the last thing you want to happen, guys, is what did you restrict me for? What did you didn't warn me in the third. This is the first time I've said anything. Nope. I made this very clear so everybody's on notice. Okay? The next thing to think about, guys, okay, is I go back to the point of being diplomatic. Okay? Depending on the temperature of the room, we can talk things through. Okay? We can make sure that there's some clarity. A lot of times, guys, when coaches come out, and this kind of transition to the next piece, but when coaches come out, it's not because they think you're wrong. They just want to know what you have. They may be writing on the board over here a substitution that's coming up, okay, because they're worst hitters in the box, and we know we're about to make a change. I don't expect him to get on base. I don't expect anything to happen with this guy because he's 0 for 30, and I just need to make a change, okay? And then all of a sudden, everybody roars, and he turns around and looks, and I just want to know what happened. Okay? Whether it's a play at first base, whether it's a hit by pitch, I have no idea because I'm not paying attention. Okay? Or little Johnny in the dugout down there hollers about something, and it catches my attention. Does that make sense? So, when a coach comes out, be very clear of what you have, okay? And allow him to truly define why he's coming out. Does that make sense? Okay, so going into crew conferences. It is not at all necessary to get together every time the coach asks you to get together. Okay, but we do want to do everything we can to get the call right. So, I believe that the chapter as a whole has adopted this, and I think it's very good to do so, and I really cannot believe that Tasso has not. But on check swings, if you're asked for a check swing, send it down, okay? At the collegiate level, there's no discussion about it. If they ask for a check swing, any game personnel, we send it down, okay? Just send it down. Let them give you what you have. Nobody wants to step on anybody's toes, but if you don't have a swing, say I don't have a swing. And then we move on, okay? But what I'm talking about is crew conferences in which we, one, are absolutely sure. I'll give you an example, and I'm going to ask a couple of questions, and on the live feed, they can just, answer at home or whatever. But if I have a ball that's inside, I have an inside pitch that, in my judgment, hits the kid in the belly. Okay? Hits the kid in the belly, and the catcher still catches the ball. All right? Same plane right here. Boom. Hits him. Catcher still catches it. I call time, and I send him down. Okay? Everybody clear? Coach comes out and goes, that ball absolutely did not hit him. And your co-official is either on the open side, so for instance, a right-handed batter, he's at first base, or he's in the middle. So he has just as good of a look as I do, if not better, because he doesn't have a catcher in the way. So I ask, one of you guys raise your hand to answer this, but the coach comes out and says, hey, Cody, I'm telling you, you missed that. You've got to get help. Who says, okay, no problem. I'll get help. We'll talk about it. We'll get together on it. And then I'll give you my verdict on this, but you must, same, we got to go to the dugout. You got to go back to your position. Once you do, then we'll get together, right? Okay, so Ron, you come out. The ball never hit him. It absolutely didn't. You've got to get some help. Okay, Jim is my partner. You want me to get with Jim on this hit by pitch. That's what you're telling me to do? Okay, well, you've got to go back to the dugout. And once you do, I'll be happy to, but you can't come out to argue anything that we may have. Or you still want me to get together? Yep. Okay. Raise your hand if you're going to get together with Jim to make sure that we have absolute clarity on what we have because we want to get the call right. Raise your hand. A little bit of both. So do you want me to go halfway and yell to him?
You can go to him and say, do you see anything different? No. Okay, fine, we'll go with my call.
Perfect. What if he says yes? Ball didn't hit him. What are you going to do now?
You can't make the correction.
Why?
You don't have to.
But why would you?
You get the call right.
Okay, you got it right the first time. So, guys, raise your hand. The ones that said we're going to get together and help. Matt, why are we going to get together and help? We got the call right the first time, brother. We don't re-officiate the play.
Just want to kind of want the coach to
Why?
feel like he made y'all do something and then he made.
Okay, so the next time he doesn't like the pitch, hey man, Brian's in the middle. He saw the fastball. You missed it. You guys got to get together on that. Guys, we're opening up a can. Okay? Because Matt, you said the ball hit him. It hit him in the belly, 100%. Otherwise, you wouldn't have said, Tom, send him to first base because the ball hit him. So, Jim, you don't have the ball hitting him, right? You don't. So what do we do now, Matt? I'm 100% that the ball did not hit him. Or I'll be your partner, Matt. I'm 100% that the ball did not hit that kid. You're 100% that it did. Because you said it hit him in the belly, got caught by the catcher, so why are we getting together? So I tell you this, and use this advice, guys, I'm telling you. Brian, Stephen, Wes, Ron will give you the exact same information. If there is no new information needed, then there is no reason to get together. Because if Brian, and I trust Brian, I've worked on the field with Brian many times. Ron, y'all have already heard, over 100 times we've worked together. If I now put the crew at jeopardy and go, hey Ron, what do you got? And he goes, Cody, I got nothing. What Ron ought to say is, I got nothing, but there's no reason for you to be out here, because regardless of what I tell you, it shouldn't change your decision because you had it hit him. Now, scenario is different. I don't have it hit him. Now we can. Okay? Now we can. The exact same scenario happened to me however many years ago, Hallsville versus Corsicana. Corsicana coach comes out because we have a hit in the leg. We have a swing. Hit him in the leg. The ball absolutely did not hit him in the leg. I had it hit in the leg. Well, you got to get the 3 guys that are on the crew together and discuss this. I said, for what? He said, well, they got a better look. Great. I got the ball hitting him in the leg. No questions asked, 100%. I said, if those 3 guys don't, I still don't care, because I wouldn't have said it hit him in the leg if it didn't. So it's not going to change anything. Now, can we explain that to him in a diplomatic way? Sure. Hey, listen, I'd love to get some help on this, but there's no reason to, because I have it hit him in the leg. Okay, if it didn't, then fine. But once I have that, there's nothing to discuss. And I don't need to put them in a position where they have to either make something up or show that they weren't paying attention, because I have the best seat in the house. Okay? Now, it seems that in this chapter we have some guys, unfortunately, that are a little bit arrogant and a little bit pompous at times, or want to make sure that they get the call right every time, and they just wear it. There are situations that the rule book allows us to get together. Okay? Pull foot, swipe tag, check swings. Okay? A time when the ball drops on a tag and the other co-official did not know. So I go back to the previous discussion where I mentioned to you, if I don't have any information, there's nothing to discuss. But let's say you're working with me. Do you trust me? Okay, you've never seen me work, but you probably trust me based on this discussion here. Okay? But if I have a swipe tag at the plate and the ball goes in the air and I do not see it and the ball drops to the ground and we do not have firm and secure possession and voluntary release, then we do not have an out, correct? Okay. And I don't see the ball go and back down, and I punch him. The rule book allows you to come to me and go, hey, listen, I have information that you are obviously not aware of. So now we can get together. Now, I'm 100% sure that this tag was applied. 100%. But I'm not 100% sure that the tag was applied with the baseball. Okay? So my partner can now come to me and say, hey, listen, whatever we pregame, whatever signaling, okay, whatever. And one thing that I would do is I would say this. If you're in a room and you're and somebody has caught your attention, it's fairly obvious, okay? We don't have to take our hat off or run to somebody or whatever. I mean, we just need to be subtle about the fact that we have some information. And I'll give you one way to do that, okay? I may, if there's an out at the plate, for instance, or a drop ball at first base, or pull foot, swipe tag that we potentially have, what do we do as the plate umpire? Nobody on, ball hit to the shortstop. I'm going to now run up to the 45, correct? Okay, once the play is over and all things have ceased and it's going around the horn, what do I now do? I go back to the plate to go to the next batter. If I have some information for you, I may stay put. I don't need to wave my hat. I don't need to white flag this thing. I don't need to do anything. I just need to maybe stay put. Coach comes out, and Carl made a bad call, whatever. He did not see that the ball dropped, or he did not see the pulled foot. Well, it's my responsibility to now, hey, and I'm going to let him do his thing, and they'll work it out. But would you agree, Carl, if I stop here, I see all elements of the play, and I'm satisfied with what happened, good, bad, or indifferent, and I turn around and I head back, does Carl pretty well know that, hey, Cody's got no new information for me? Did I do anything? Nothing. I moved on about my game. And that told Carl, when the coach comes out and goes, hey man, can you guys get together about this? You know, he pulled his foot. He said, I don't need to. My partner's already told me all the information that I need. Okay? So, let's move on to situations where we do get together. Okay? And those things that are those different scenarios, Ron can help you with, or Brian, or Stephen, or whoever else later on, because I'm sure that these discussions will happen over the course of these meetings prior to the season starting. But let's say we decide, what's your name, sir? Curtis. Let's say we decide to go Curtis's route. Okay? We're going to go Curtis's route because we want to pacify the coach. We want to keep him in the game because everybody needs to be appreciative that we're working under COVID scenarios, and we want to all just be happy. Okay? So, he asks us to get together, and I just want to do so because I just don't want him to holler at me for the next 6 innings because he came out in the first. Okay? So, he comes out. He asks us to get together on this play. The next play happens. Ball hit to the shortstop. It's a close play at first base. He now comes out on Carl because he's not happy about the ruling. Okay? And now we've had 2 plays and 2 coaches' visits, and now we turn into a 3-hour ball game. That's what happens, Curtis, but just bear with me. So, we're going to pacify the coach, and we're going to get together. If we do, the scenario must be different. If we're 100%, if you're going to get together, Curtis, my feelings are not, but if we are, the conversation with me must be different. Let's go back to this. Matt, you and I, we're working. You're going to be on the bases. I'm on the plate. The ball hit him, okay? And I allow the coach to talk me into getting with you, okay? Again, full disclosure, I'm against that, okay? But we're going to do it for the purpose of this discussion. If I get together, the conversation will be much different than it not hitting him and he wants me to get together. You ready? Okay. The coach says that he doesn't think that the ball hit him, Matt. I got it 100%, okay? That's the way it is, and I'm just coming out to satisfy the coach because I want to keep him in the game for whatever reason, because I'm soft, all right? He's going to stay in the game, and we're done with this conversation because I 100% have it hit him, and he's going to go to first base. We're going to break up. Got it? Hey, batter goes to first. The coach is going to say, hey, thanks, man, appreciate it. I still think you missed it. And Matt wasn't paying attention anyway. All right, whatever. Okay? Now, let's say he doesn't. Okay? He comes out because I don't think that it hit him, and he thinks it did. Okay? So when he comes out and he goes, hey, man, I'm telling you, that ball hit him. Really? I didn't have it hit him. Well, can you get with your crewmate? Sure. Got to go back to the dugout. Yada, yada, yada. Matt, he says that the ball hit him, man. I don't have it. Okay? Do you have the ball hitting him? Do you see what kind of question I asked? A yes or no question. And it warrants a yes or no response. Okay? Matt, do you have the ball hitting him? Perfect. He's going to go to first base. All right. Matt's got the ball hitting him. That's what we got. Okay? Going to first. Listen, in a 2-man system, it's obvious who flipped the call. Okay? So we don't have to beat around the bush about it. All right? Hey, look, man, I don't know. Catcher popped up in front of me. I have no clue. So if I don't have it, I can't get it. All right? Capiche? He's got it. Okay? It was obvious, it was pretty clear to everybody because he had it pretty quick, and this one said he had it. So it is what it is. Well, now the coach goes, hey, man, there ain't no way. Well, hey, look, I got blocked out. That's the only reason why I got with Matt, okay? I had an obstructive view of all the scenario, and so I just want to make sure we get the call right. I do the same thing for you, okay? So toodly-doo, back to the dugout. And then we get it right and we move on, okay? But do you see how the conversation goes completely different? Now, if we have a situation like a pulled foot, swipe tag, okay, a squirrely situation, uncommon, where we have things that are out of sorts that happen on this play. Coach comes out and says, hey, you got to get together because he pulled his foot. All right? I would say that's a time that we can get with our crew. And guys that you may work with may not necessarily use this whole philosophy that me and Brian may use of, hey man, you're good. And then we move on. Okay? They just may stay just to get an earshot of what the coach may say because we're likely to have an ejection because Brian is not happy about a real estate deal today. Okay? So I just stay close. And he says, okay, we're going to talk about it. All right, perfect. You got to go to the dugout and we'll get together and we'll figure it out. Okay? No big deal. We get together. Now, if we're going to flip the call, it's very important to let the coach that just took one, let him know exactly what we have. Give him a second to process it. You guys have a short conversation about what, why, and all the elements of what happened and why we're flipping it, and then we move on. Okay? But this is a time where these coaches, where I talked about early, that they feel the need to use you guys as a whipping post. We're not going to do that. I'm going to tell you exactly what I have. I'm going to be clear cut. I'm going to articulate my words to another human being, and then we're going to move on. There is nothing wrong with owning a mistake that we flip. Nothing at all wrong with that. Hey, Jim, man, I got blocked out. I have absolutely no idea what happened in front of me, okay? I have no clue that ball went off the catcher's front foot because the catcher slid over. I mean, the batter's front foot, and the catcher slid over. I have no idea. That's why I have a partner, okay? Are there any questions about how these situations go down, okay? The biggest thing to do is to make sure that we take care of our business, okay? Get in the position, in the best position to see all elements of the play, that we don't have a need to get help. Okay? If we get plays right the first time, then we don't have to bring our crew in, whether it's a 2 or a 3-man system. Okay? Let's get plays right the first time. But when a coach comes out, make sure you remember you don't say anything until he finishes talking, because it still may not warrant you saying anything at all. Let him ask the question, what did you have? I had this. I did see the ball on the ground, but he got back to the bag first, okay, before the runner got there. Cody, you didn't see the ball on the ground? Yep, sure did. But he also picked up the ball prior to the runner getting to the bag, and by rule, he is still out. Okay? Okay, well, as long as you saw the ball on the ground, fine. But if you go, try to combat that thing early, well, then now we're going to have this pissing match, for the lack of a better term. Okay? We'll go over a little bit more of that stuff later. I think we're at the point. You guys, are we there?
Real quick, discuss the intentional use. I don't have it hitting him versus I didn't see it hitting him.
Okay. You want to go over that?
If you don't feel it's necessary.
I don't at this point. All right, guys. If you have any other questions for me, by all means, get my information from these guys. I'm happy to help. I'm in town early in the week, but if you guys want to reach out, I'm on the road quite a bit, and I'm happy to visit on the telephone or via text on the road. So if you guys need me this season, by all means, reach out. But you've got some solid leadership that can help out as well. So thank you guys for having me. If you need me, again, reach out. Jim?
You need to say something, Jim?
I just have a feeling that we're not really clear on what we're doing when the coach is talking to us. I think we might have a little bit, need to clean that up a little bit. The coach is barking at you about balls and strikes. If you acknowledge him by looking over at him, then that's going to be step one. If you put your hand up and tell him, I've heard you, that's enough. I think I need to add, I'm going to write that down when I said that, okay? I'm not trying to make the rule here. I just want us all to be together. So if I'm getting off, let me know.
Penalty. The umpire shall warn the offender unless the offense is judged to be major, in which case an ejection shall occur. A warning may be verbal or written. If written, the offender shall be restricted to the bench dugout area for the remainder of the game. If the coach has previously received a verbal warning, he shall receive a written warning and be restricted to the bench dugout for the remainder of the game. Okay, so we can go verbal, and then we can go written. Okay, so I'm giving, if it's me, I may, if I suck that game, I may acknowledge him and say, okay, that's enough. I may do that a little bit more if I'm having a bad game, but I'm not going to let him bark all game. I'm going to give him that. I'm going to say, that's enough. I've heard you. Okay? Then I'm going to be a verbal warning. Coach, this is your verbal warning. The next time you're going to be restricted to the dugout. I'm not even going to say written. Okay? I'm giving him a verbal warning. Then I'm restricting him to the dugout. That's how I'm going to handle it, okay? Unless I'm really sucking bad.
Is there any questions with that? Again, the most important piece, guys, is to make sure that they know the temperature of the room, okay? There's nothing wrong with acknowledging, like Jim's talking about, acknowledging, hey, listen, man, I hear you, but listen. And one thing that I may consider doing is acknowledge, hey, you can't argue balls and strikes. All right, then I give the warning, whatever it may be and however you guys define it. Hey, that's your warning for balls and strikes. Okay? I'm not opposed in some of the games that I work because I used to be a guy that was about ejections. Now I think a better official has the ability to keep the coach in the game. Now, if it's time, it's time. Okay, so we're not talking about those times. But just because we can go with warn, verbal warning, you're restricted, he says something, I can easily say, hey, you do remember that you've been warned about balls and strikes. Yeah, sorry. I mean, what happens if we're in the 8th and we're going into extras and everything's just tight now, okay? And he needs that pitch. Hey, Cody, you got to get that pitch. Hey, that's enough. Listen, whatever. Okay? Say your piece to him. Hey, listen, I don't want to have to eject you, but you know you've been warned about balls and strikes. I know. I'm amped up. I mean, we haven't won all year, and we're close. I get it. Just cool it. Okay? Just know the temperature of the room. If they come out like a banshee, like they caught you behind Walmart with their wife, then you got a whole different scenario. Okay? Just know the temperature of the room. Okay? And everybody in this room is able to be objective about that kind of dealings. Okay? See you guys next week. I'll finish with that one.
He nailed it on the head. He said a good official can keep a coach in a ball game, and that's no more of a true statement. I mean, he's normally full of crap, but that's actually some truth coming out of his mouth for once. I'm glad it's on video and on YouTube, so we have proof. But it's the truth, guys. Running people get you nowhere. In any sport, there's guys in here that call multiple sports. They can tell you that. Carl can tell you that. Ricky can tell you that. Tim can tell you that. Jim can tell you that. Chin, everybody up here, guys. They can tell you if you can keep coaches in ball games. Look, if he's MFing you and things like that, he's trying to get thrown out. All right, he's trying to get in trouble. That's a different situation. All right. Like Cody said, know the temperature of the room. Try preventative officiating. That's the only thing. I'm the same way in football. Preventative officiating. All right, let them know. Talk to them. Tell them. Even if it's in between innings. If they're chirping over there and it's nothing bad, in between innings, just kind of go to that side. Turn your back. All right, they come out, hey, tone it down a little bit for me. All right. Prevent it. Prevent problems from happening. All right. Steven's got something. When Steven's done, y'all go to the house. Thank everybody for coming, and we'll see y'all next week.
Just to piggyback on what Wes and Cody talked about, if you do get to the point where, one, you have to eject somebody, or two, even if it gets to the written warning point, when your game is over, send me a text message, or send Wes a text message, or send
me and
or both of us. Because if that happens in a game, probably before you've texted me, that coach has texted me or called me. And he's going to give me his side of the story, and he's going to send me some fans' Facebook video of it. But I want to hear your side of the story too, because I'm going to go to bat for you if you did everything you're supposed to do correctly. So please, please let me know, because it just makes it easier. Yes, sir. Yeah, I agree with what Tim said. I mean, if you do have an ejection at the game, you and your partner talk about it before you leave, because the ejecting umpire does have to fill out an ejection report. We won't talk about that tonight, but
Hey, on that, we are going to review that, but do not fill out your ejection report the night of the ejection with you. When you have a bunch of emotion, if you're angry, wait till the next day. Wait till the next morning. Don't fill it out when you're ticked off, okay? Wait till the next day.
Wes says that from experience. But when you do fill out that ejection report, before you do submit it or send it away to TASO or the UIL or TAPS, make sure it comes to Wes, Ron, or I, so we can, or all three of us, so we can look at it. We can help you with it, because we may need to reword some things. We have to write them a certain way, because if you don't write it a certain way, it'll come back to you. But aside from that, I hope you never have to give somebody a written warning this year. I hope you do not have to eject anybody this year, because both those things make my life more difficult. One thing, though, that I want to remind you of before, I talked about this in emails a couple of times, with scrimmages that we have next week, and then when regular games start, please communicate with your crew. Right now, your crew is 2 to 4 umpires during scrimmages. If you are a rookie and that veteran that's on the top line of your scrimmage has not reached out to you, and it's the day before a scrimmage, you reach out to everybody on the crew. He's not doing his job, because I've told them over and over again they're supposed to, and some of them aren't. So you take initiative and do it, because I want y'all to be on the same page when you get somewhere. And sometimes you may find out somebody's going to be late or somebody can't get there, and then I can hopefully help fix that problem if I know about it prior to the scrimmage. So please communicate with your crew, because if somebody does not show up at a scrimmage and you end up having to do it just you and somebody else because I didn't know, don't be mad at me, because I can't know the schedules of everybody in this room. I try to do my best to spread the scrimmages out to give you as short of a drive as I possibly can. There are some exceptions to that, but please, please communicate with each other, and communicate when the regular season starts, especially the tournament weekends. If you have multiple tournament games in a day, it'll make your life easier if you communicate. If you show up and you don't know what's going on, it makes it way more difficult. If you're going out of town, you can even get together and ride together if you want. I mean, there's lots of things you can do by communicating. So that's all I got. Don't forget, if you have not, oh, Toby, yes, sir. The Arbiter app, I think, shows plate, base, doesn't it? So whoever's the plate person at the top, if you're if you're the plate person, I'm trying to say you are the person that needs to reach out and contact people. And if that person does not, somebody else do it, please, because it's everybody's responsibility on the crew to communicate. I'm putting veterans up there at the top, or putting certain people up there at the top for a reason, because I want to see if they do that part of the job. And already there's been some guys I put up there that I'm trying to help them move up with their schedules, and they have not reached out to people. And it gets back to me and I find out. So just do that part of the job. It's very simple. If you want to move up, you want a better schedule, sometimes doing simple things like communicating with your crew can help you get a better game. Anybody else got any questions? Well, before you head out, Wes will close this, because Wes wants to talk tonight. But don't forget about the shirts. If you ordered a shirt, they're back there. I don't want to carry them around anymore.
Real quick, guys, if you're on the scrimmage, this is something I forgot to bring up earlier. If you're scheduled on a scrimmage, you're scheduled to work the plate at some point in that scrimmage, okay? If there's 4 of y'all and it's a 7-inning game, break it down. Everybody there needs to be ready to work the plate. And I know a gentleman came in a while ago and said he's worked 15 innings so far on the plate. That's a lot, considering we just started scrimmages 4 days ago, okay? If there's 2 of y'all there, which, and I know that has happened, switch. But when you switch, try to get with the coach, go figure out how long they're going to go. If they're going to go 10 innings, after 5 or after the end of the 4th, go get your gear off. The guy in the field, call it from behind the mound. Once he gets done changing, don't go to Dairy Queen and eat. Don't run down the street. Don't talk on the phone to your wife. Go change, come back out, go behind the mound, let him go get his gear on. Okay, don't just because there's 2 of y'all there, whoever draws the better straw, I guess you can say, and doesn't have to work the plate first, that doesn't mean that guy needs to work 10 innings of the plate. Y'all still split it in half, go behind the mound while you're changing, whatever. These coaches aren't going to gripe. They know we're shorthanded. They know the situation we're in, okay? Another thing, Tim brought up mask earlier, guys. If you want to wear a mask, wear one. If you don't, you don't. There's respect who you're in the room with. If your partner wants to wear a mask, totally fine. If your partner doesn't want to, that's totally fine too. Respect each other though, respect your opinions, and God almighty, don't make it political or anything, okay? That's the last thing we need. Other than that, everybody go to the house. We'll see y'all next week.